Well, let's get started with the questions then. Now, the Fairview Park School Board signed a 3-year contract, I guess, I think I had the wrong year here. I think it was in 2014 with Geoffrey Andrews. And then discovered that they rescinded the offer after learning that he had been placed on leave from a job in China. They ended up settling a contract dispute with him for $150,000. What lessons do you think were learned from that, or what lessons should the district have learned from that experience?
Bruce, I'm so glad you brought that up, and that's a great question, one that I was hoping that we'd be able to discuss with the incumbents tonight, and unfortunately we'll be able to talk about it amongst ourselves. I think the lessons learned, number one, this is the primary job of the Board of Education is to hire the leader of our district, and you need to do your due diligence, and that means when you schedule 7 interviews with 7 candidates, you interview all candidates to determine the best one. I think the other thing is we learned through the public records request in this situation that some, unfortunately, of our board members were not listening to the concerns of other board members. And had they done that, had they listened to the concerns, we most likely wouldn't have been in the position that we're in now. So I think it really shows a need for listening, for being thoughtful in making decisions. And it's not all about one member's perspective. It's about listening to the concerns and having all members have their voice represented in decision making.
All right, Mr. Allen.
I like this question too. I mean, as a hiring manager at my place of employment, I am required to do my due diligence, and I rely on the constituents within my organization to do their homework as well and make sure that when we have the top candidates, that's in fact they are top, they are qualified, and everything that's listed on their line items on their resume as well as their cover letters are validated with homework and make sure that they're in place. I was very disappointed to find out when that did not get followed through, and it was a very costly decision made by the district. In fact, in order to back out of this decision, there was several $100,000s of dollars that had to be paid. And just to put that into perspective, when we're looking at over roughly $200,000 plus dollars that the district had to absorb, if you look at our special education budget, for example, the federal financial input to the district is about $438,000. So they spent roughly 50% of what the federal allotment is for special education in our district. So we had to try and find out, where is our district going to absorb that?
Okay. And at this point, we would, if anyone wants to respond with a 60-second comment, they can. I mean, you both seem to kind of be on the same page, so I don't know.
But if you don't mind me jumping
Sure.
in, I think one of the things that really surprised and disappointed me is that we don't have any accountability mechanisms in place. If you look at our current board policies, it's chapter 1.20 of our district's policies, that it basically lays out the evaluation procedures for school board operations. The board is responsible for evaluating the board. Where's the accountability in that? And I think that policy needs to be reevaluated, updated, and we need to have accountability measures put in place for our Board of Education. They sit at the top of the organizational chart for our district. We hold our administrators accountable. We hold our teachers accountable. We hold our students accountable. Our board needs to have mechanisms in place for accountability so this never happens again. And then when people are screaming for a resignation, they've got some mechanism in place for recourse.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could add one more thing.
Sure.
Like Kelly had said, being at the top of the organization, in addition to having a lot of responsibility, you have to be able to communicate effectively as well. When you make a bad decision, you have to not only hold yourself accountable to it, but you have to communicate what happened and why. It's the least you could do for the community.